So I'm Daria. I'm a somatic manifestation coach, and I'm here to really just share my life journey of survival mode, which has been pretty much my whole life up until about a year ago. Yeah, well, like I mentioned, honestly, up until about a year ago, my whole life has been survival mode, like right from the get-go. As a baby, your nervous system attunes to your environment, to the people around you. I, at one point, was like hospitalized, and they were trying to do all sorts of tests to sort of figure out what was wrong with me. Like, I had like severe stomach aches. Like, I would wake up in the night, like in severe pain, screaming. Like, I think they call it like celiac pain, or it's like coming and ongoing pains. So whilst I was already trying to be perfect to make sure that I wouldn't get abandoned again, there's this whole culture around being the best and like doing the absolute best, being your perfect thing, getting the grades you need to get. So it was like all joy kind of got sucked out of me, I will say. I spent a lot of nights, crying on the windowsill, waiting for my mum to come and visit like every weekend or so, and that was quite difficult memories to look back at now, to be honest. So the feelings of loneliness definitely carried on. And then being here, as soon as we kind of arrived, it's like there was this feeling that something's off. I felt completely trapped. I felt like I couldn't say anything because I was so scared of saying the wrong thing because I would be like verbally abused, I would be scrutinized. So it was like wherever I was at, I felt like I was in hell. Like I just wanted to disappear because very quickly needed to find a way out of the feelings I was having on the emotions I couldn't bear. The only way to numb out was I found those ways. I think he's going to murder us. Like I'm really scared. Like it was either way, I was going to be beaten down and abused, and not always in a physical sense, but it just in general. And yeah, so his behavior got to a point where we were so worried about him, like psychologically, like he would spend hours like locked up in his sort of space, pretty much like screaming and like, playing like severe loud music and whatever else. And my mom was really trying to help him and get him help with seeing the doctors and everything, but he wasn't very compliant or didn't really want the help, I guess. So heart-shattering pain, like my whole heart just exploded, where I was like, wow. I just remember sleeping on the floor in like a sleeping bag next to the radiator and just like trying to like go to college and do my studies and trying to keep it together. So very scary, like incidents of hallucinations and visions that I had when I was under influence. Definitely living in a lot of numbness, not being able to process what was going on. And then my relationships ended up following patterns where I got into relationships that were also extremely unhealthy for me, which were mirroring a lot of my situations with my stepdad. Like I ended up barely eating throughout the day, going on like 5 coffees a day, eating a huge meal before bed to sort of, knock myself out. I was constantly hypervigilant. I was constantly in adrenalized state of wanting to run away, of needing to like do something. I was waking up feeling like I don't want to be here. um, so yeah, and it got to a point where my body just said no. My body just said, we can't do this anymore. I stopped waiting for someone else to come or for life to come and give me a good day. I realized that it was up to me. I had to fight for myself to be seen by a psychiatrist, to get blood tests done, which was suggested by the psychiatrist, by the way, not even the general practitioner. I now see it as my body's way of saying that, I gave you signals and at the end, it just had to force me to really change and to take a step back. And this is what happened. I wake up every day and I'm excited. I'm like, okay, what's the day gonna bring, And I feel like I now know how to balance myself to show up in the world in a way that I couldn't before. I think food is a big one as well because food tends to be one of the few things that, say, even looking back at childhood, we have control over, right?
I think that is the first step in exiting survival mode. And I smile because I think a lot of people are unaware of the residual impacts of trauma. I would find myself at the bottom of a bottle, and I
Mm.
didn't even like the alcohol I was drinking. Didn't even like being drunk, but that was the easiest way to escape. Food, definitely.
I was addicted to the stress and the chronic activation of that. stress of the adrenaline, the cortisol, the dopamine hits, the drama, like everything the coping behaviors I had, they brought drama into my life because chaos felt like safety to me. Chaos felt home. And that's just how I was ready to carry on my life until there came a point where I just had to.
Our brain is phenomenally amazing. But what happens is we get used to, like, when we are living in chaos, and like you, my chaos was ripe from very young and it continued for decades, right? I didn't know what peace was. Like, peace to me was like, uh, just a buzzword. If we are living in fight and flight for decades, our brain thinks that's normal. So what happens is when we are not in those spaces, the brain is like, wait a minute, this isn't home.
So it is in terms of like releasing what's stored has to happen through the body. But somatics brings us into a place where we become the body's friend. Like we're no longer trying to dominate or control it. We really listen to what the body needs. Like we listen to what our internal physical states need when we need that rest, when we need that nurture, when we need to address whatever is coming up, rather than trying to push through. Like, I can be a friend to my body, I can be a friend to my mind, and then that's how I can connect to my true selves, right? Just know that you can choose that for yourself at any point. Like, you can choose to start to show up in life differently and to start to shift your reality, that it is under your control, no one else's.